All right, so who wants to pull today?
I haven't done it in a while. Let's see. Where to choose, where to choose. Ah! I see someone going to sleep. Let's pull them in. They seem interesting. And there they are.
Hello, what a marvelous place.
Hello there, are you okay?
Hello. Yes, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine. Do you need a lozenge?
No. This is just my normal voice. Some people say I'm husky, but I don't really know what that means. I thought that was a type of dog.
It is a type of dog, but it also can refer to one's weight or the way one speaks.
Well, I guess that. Well, if that is the case, then maybe I am a husky. I'm not part husky. That would be silly.
I would say you sound a little bit hoarse.
A horse? Well, now, an Aracock or a horse dog. I've seen some strange things in my brief years, but never such a thing.
Wait, Ephraim, you know what that means?
Oh yeah, I love eating horses.
Ah, okay.
Of course.
I thought you finally read the book.
Well, let me go ahead and say, welcome to the Delegation of Dreamers. I am Rue.
Hello, Roo. Yes, nice.
I'm Ephraim.
And I'm Ashura.
Hello, Ashura and Ephraim. Yes, well, thank you. This is a very peculiar dream. I mean, I do talk to people in my dreams, but not normally about if I'm a horse or not.
I would say that's an odd one.
Yes. We have brought you here to ask you some questions today. Well, I guess it's probably night for you.
When I went to sleep, yes, night. I imagine it will be morning when I awake.
Yes. I will start off by saying you seem to be a cleric, because I can tell that you have some divine magics at your disposal. If I'm correct, you're a cleric of Melora, right?
Indeed, you can just get that from me. Does that vibe come out?
Well, I can see people's ties to otherworldly beings. Could you tell me a bit about Melora? I'm not super familiar with her besides her name.
She guides us with the way that she twists storms and makes the clouds cross skies. She shows us the way. She chooses to make this crop flourish and this crop freeze and this civilization last and this one stop. She is merciful but severe in her remonstrations for those who do not toe the line in her eyes, and her clerics and paladins and folk will do their best to protect the innocent mostly. We care deeply for all of those who do not have the power to look after themselves.
Very good. It is always good to see one who will protect those less fortunate and less powerful than themselves. I'm glad that I pulled you. We've got an interesting one. I do have a question. You're an Aarakocra, correct?
Yes, that is my species, yes.
I just have to say, you are unique compared to most of the ones I've met. Aren't most Aarakocras more like eagles?
Yes. I've not met one of my own kind in some time. I did come across a rather annoying bird person, but they turned out to be an orc. But yes, I appear to be the... Well, I've only met me that looks like this.
How did you manage to mistake an orc for a bird?
You took the words out of my mouth.
Well, they had about their neck a pendant. And when we first met them, they looked like a drow. Then they crushed the necklace, and they flickered between a drow, a townsperson, a white bird person, and then when the crystal was finally smashed, this medallion was destroyed. They were an orc, a full orc.
Where did they get this pendant?
This I haven't come to the bottom of yet.
Those pendants seems like it would be quite useful if you're trying to hide who you are.
Oh, it was. His henchmen had them. They didn't manage to smash theirs. We chopped their heads off.
Oh.
And their legs.
Oh dear.
Well, I didn't. Jackson did.
Ah, is Jackson someone you adventure with?
Oh, Jackson, one of my deepest, most beloved friends, yes.
Can you tell us a bit about him?
Well, he's a rather straightforward individual. Doesn't often understand the intricacies of non-orcish life. He's more of one that thinks that he doesn't understand kings, for example. By right, by lineage. He thinks you should just be the person that can punch the other person the strongest.
Interesting.
That is a way to rule.
That's how they do it in his tribe, he says.
Do you have other people that you travel with?
Yes, well, Serial sadly has left us go adventure back to her home of Gargamel, where a rumour has arisen that there are fey magics overtaking her forest. But currently we have, obviously, Erwin, who is our guide for the town where we currently reside in Morden Sal, cobbler by trade. Fascinating, but can also summon daggers to his hand of energy, of magic daggers. It's quite incredible. And nearly forgot. Killian Non, my oldest, dearest companion. A hard-worn battle befriending this individual. A white dragonborn, not just cold in nature, cold in personality also. The only thing that seems to warm his heart is, well, a decent pastry, really.
Speaking of pastries, would you like one? I just had some made.
Yes, what are the fillings?
I've got some berry-filled, I've got some fruit-filled, I've got a pastry that is not filled with anything, but is topped with a glaze.
How real is this?
Well, I don't actually know. You're here in consciousness, not in body, but it should make you feel satisfied when you wake up. Maybe not full, but...
And the good part is that it doesn't matter for your teeth.
I suppose that is, have a beak.
Well, then it's not bad for your beak either.
No, true. Do you think I could try and take one back with me?
You can try. I've seen some other people bring some things back with them, so...
I'll forgo I'll take one for Killian. I'll have one with the topping,
Okie dokie.
if I may.
Yes. One moment. Jerry, can you bring some of those pastries out now? Thank you.
Get Terry to help you if you need.
Yes, don't tell anybody, but Jerry's probably my favorite of the kobolds. He's always so willing to help and only hides from me occasionally when I have the butterfly net.
Nice to meet you, Jerry.
Oh, he brought 3 out for you. You can try and bring all 3, then you'll have even more gifts. You can give one to both of your companions and have one for yourself, if you can actually manage to bring them back.
Well, you know what? I'll give Owen half of one. He's rather small, so I'll have half, he'll have half. He'll probably be satisfied, and I'll get something else from the kitchens.
Of course. Now, back on track.
Sorry.
Yes.
I did have a question.
Mhm.
I noticed that one feather on top of your head does not appear to want to smooth down at all.
Yes.
Do you need some type of gel? We could possibly help with that.
You know what? I'm going to share a secret.
What's that?
I kind of like it. I think it makes me look foppish.
I mean, I agree. But just wanted to make sure.
I'm quite happy with what it does. Every now and then it does come forwards. Then it's a quick with either the wing or the hand, and it's back. And as long as it's not in my field of vision, it doesn't seem to cause me much trouble.
Speaking of your wings, you seem to have quite pleasant feathers.
I do indeed, yes.
Are they dyed or are those natural?
It's all natural.
Oh, fancy.
Just to get back to the topic, what world do you come from?
The sphere I live upon is known as Earl.
Like the tea?
URL.
Earl.
Sound like Earl.
And do you have tea?
Oh, yes. Tea is most a common thing to find, although not so much where we are. It has to be shipped quite a way. I understand.
Hmm.
So how many adventuring parties have you been with? Is this your first one, or...
I was sent to Earl from the elemental plane by my mentors, a sort of, not a punishment, but approving myself, really. And these folks, apart from the prisoners, are really the first folks I've ever met. From this plane, anyway.
You mentioned something about prisoners?
Yes, I was helping at the Reformist Church Island, and I was sort of bringing people back from their criminal lives, showing them the paths that are open to them. It was a very, very interesting place because there were many other religions. There was not only Melora represented, but many other gods and deities were quite openly worshipped there, and I was trying to rehabilitate. Some were beyond saving, some people they could not be saved, and we would keep them imprisoned for the betterment of all mortal. However, some we could help with gentle guidance. Then I went wandering. I went down a stair I'd never been down and thought nothing of it really, and then through a door that was might have been locked, and then there was a large shout, and then I woke up tied to the deck of a slave ship, and that's where I met Killian and Sarah.
You went through a darkened corridor, and... That's a very odd dream. I haven't heard with that one before.
No, this was not a dream. I still have the lump, from where something hit me on the head.
My apologies. I thought you dreamt of the dark corridor.
No. I went down in the basements and walked through, and, well, the only thing I can think is that I was in an area that might have been off limits.
They put you on a slave ship for that. That seems rather high-end.
Yes, it is playing on my mind. We met a dragon that said the sea had gone strange around there also.
So, how did you, Sariel, and Killian manage to escape from this ship?
They had warded against all destructive magic in the lower deck of the ship. However, I could heal, so I kept the crew and the other prisoners alive with my healing magics. Then Killian, by sheer brute force, broke the manacles. We made a pact with the other prisoners, and we overtook the ship. And then we sailed it, the crew and us. The crew are also ex-prisoners, and they were glad to be free.
So where did you sail?
Well, we sailed to a little port town. We bribed our way in, saying we were emissaries. We met 3 merchants, and there was a problem with the town's port, the harbour itself. It kept silting up with a strange white powder. So we went to investigate what had happened, and we followed a stream up and still seeing this powder in the water, and what we came across was something inside this crevasse, and deep inside we found crypts. There was an ancient burial chamber of some sorts, but deeper and deeper we searched, and we found an opening that seemed to go right to the very center of the earth, with a water flow nearby. We found, throwing bodies into it, a hideous creature, and the charred bone was being washed away by a stream nearby, burnt to powder, and the bone powder was what was silting the stream, silting the harbor. So many bodies.
Sounds like some of the nightmares I've seen.
We've met a nightmare as well. Well, there's a king who lives in modern Sal. Rather a lot on his plate right now. His son's missing, his town is half burnt. And before that, he'd been stuck in a coma for 10 years, dreaming of his son as a young boy, dreaming of his beautiful lady wife. We got told this by our druid Serial. And we rescued him, fought our way up through a tower in his castle that had been turned into some sort of strange mechanical defense system by his physician. Getting to the top, we found him in a bed, and we saw him just dreaming, just quiet. But when Killian produced one of the crystals that we'd been finding along our way, thing was drawn out, like sucking poison from a wound. It hungered for the crystal. And then we killed it while it was outside of the king. Once pulled from his body, it had mass and form, and we could use our weapons against it. And we did. And the king awoke.
So did you feel refreshed after sleeping for so long?
King had not noticed any time had passed. We had to explain much of what had happened. We left a lot of that to Erwin, because Erwin had lived in Mordensal all that time and seen the degradation of the town, the guards being bribed, the criminal underbelly growing. He is working hard to reclaim his once great city. He is building bases of education and offering it for free to the young, to the poor, so that they might learn that there are other ways to exist than theft, murder, and robbery.
Well, that's quite generous.
Indeed.
I believe him to be a good king.
He does sound like quite a good king.
Have you met many kings?
There have been quite a few kings that come into our realm. A lot seem rather full of themselves, thinking that they should own this place. But they tend to forget that they themselves have become forgotten.
Yes. Unfortunately, a lot of the people who come here are the ones that we don't ask questions like this have been long since forgotten. This is the realm of forgotten memories and dreams. But, some of the kings that I've seen come through have been decent people, and before I came here, I met a few kings who were good people. So at least not all kings are so bad, but it is good to hear that one is generous enough to go and provide schooling for the poor and the young. That is, in my opinion, quite a necessary thing if you want your cities to be prosperous.
Indeed, I think he means to start with firm foundations and build upon those, so that the town might flourish once more.
So how are you rewarded for saving him?
Well, there was quite a considerable amount of pastry for Killian, given the keys basically to Mordensal, and free reign over Frohast. We were also rewarded with the most interesting mode of transportation, that being a cart on skis. Now, that doesn't sound very exciting. It has a nice leather top and it's closed in, but what is interesting is that it's bigger on the inside. It's like a little house in there.
I feel like I've seen that magic before. I'm not sure where from or with who.
With whom?
No, I'm fairly certain they were who.
Ah.
Now that you've freed your king, what is your current quest? What did we pull you from?
Well, on the morrow we are due to meet with a character that Jackson is just calling Feathers. They are an expert in animal welfare and work out of a place called Fajar. We are due to go to Fajar and get some tips on raising my pet, I guess. You call it a pet, yes.
What sort of pet is it?
It appears to be a female owlbear.
How did you come about having a pet owlbear?
I hatched it. I've been carrying it in a papoose, like on my front, and then, well, it was a prank. I woke one morning, rolled over, and beneath my rump was a large egg. And I believed I had hatched it. Jackson and Killian did not tell me for quite some time. It was not my egg. I had drunk quite a lot that night and didn't know quite where or when I'd been, or I remember there was a lot of dancing and I had the most wonderful hat. Had little lights on it, shaped like a giant eyeball. And, well, I felt duty-bound then, as I'd been carrying it for some time, to see it to fruition, to see what would happen. And then Eggy hatched.
Eggy.
Eggy.
And what were you doing the night previous that you were partying so much?
Well, it was the Festival of Melora's Eye. Now this is a celestial event, where there is a partial eclipse of the sun. A dark object floats into the center of the sun and makes it look like a giant eye, and casts a different colored light, rainbow pinks and purples upon the snows of Frohast, and there's much partying and dancing, and Jackson played an amazing drum solo. I mean, you should hear that guy play drums. Absolutely wild.
I'd love to have him play for us sometime.
How can one get in contact?
I think we'll be in contact with them, don't worry.
Should I warn them?
It's less fun if you do.
Okay, that'll be our little secret.
Yes. So what are your goals after you've completed your quest?
Well, I'm rather worried that we've been ignored.
About Eggy?
No. Eggy, I'm sure will be fine. I do worry that I might not be the best egg dad. But we're going to the place where it might be quite a difficult moment. I might have to give Eggy up. I'm not sure if I'm ready for that, but I want her to have the best life. And I want her to be where she can be best looked after. And I think that's at for sure. And anyway, I'm getting all blabbery. No, the other worry I have is there was a dragon, as I mentioned earlier, that said the sea was getting strange around where I'd previously been employed. We have not taken him up on his offer of showing us beneath the waves. The way that he knows beneath. And I believe we should really follow that up next. I want to know why. What was so secret that I would be cast out onto a slave ship? My curiosity probably getting me into more trouble.
I mean, trouble's half the fun.
You know what? I think you might be right there.
I think you're gonna do fine. And if you're this worried about Eggy, I think you're being a fine parent.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That makes me feel better.
How prevalent are worshippers of Melora?
They can be found small temples in most large settlements. I believe there was one here in Mordenthal. I think it might have been swallowed by the fire. I believe there is a temple in Kakanzax, which is southerly from where we are now. A center of magical practice, so I'm to understand.
And with that, I think we have reached our time.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for the pastries. I'm sure Killian will be the most happy.
Of course.
We'd love to have you back on sometime. Maybe in the future, once your quest has gone a bit farther.
Well, I'd be glad to. I'd love to share you some stories, and maybe I can get a review on the pastries for you.
That would be great.
I'm sure your little kobold friend would love to get some positive feedback.
Yes, he loves compliments on his cooking.
You can exchange recipes.
I shall see if I can steal or acquire. There is a wonderful chef, Mama Oost. Fantastic. Fantastic. I will try and see if we can obtain one of her secret recipes.
All right. And until then, thank you for joining us and have a good awakening.